Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Keep my head up when I act, head up, that's a fact. Never looking back, I'ma keep myself on track. Keep my head up, staying strong, always moving on. Feel I don't belong, tell my thoughts to move along. Push myself to be the best, die with no regrets. Live with every breath, see my message start to spread. And I had so many dreams, then you hit your teens. Life ain't really what it seems, try to find out what it means. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah. I'm grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable, oh yeah, no label, oh yeah, you know me, I have only a path, I'm lonely, but damn, I'm going to win. I don't want no fake love, I want the real stuff. Everybody listen up, cause I'll only say it once. I'm gonna show you all the path, if you want it bad. I'm gonna show you where it's at, yeah, how you can get it back. Yeah, cause I ain't never done, I'll be number one. Working hella hard until I get just what I want, yeah. Rises like the sun, yeah, fatal like a gun. Shooter's gonna shoot and I'm gonna shoot until I won, yeah. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah. I'm grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable, oh yeah, no label, oh yeah, you know me, I have only a path, I'm lonely, but damn, I'm going to win, yeah.
Alrighty. Good evening. Hope everyone's had a good weekend. Ready to get back in the saddle for tomorrow, yeah? Yeah, I hope everyone had a good weekend. Ours was pretty good. We went to the opening game for the Atlanta Hawks, the home opener against the New York Knicks. Tough loss. The Hawks definitely had plenty of opportunity to win that game. We just didn't get the job done. So, been watching them tonight though. They are putting up a really good performance tonight against the Bucks. We're up 21 points at the end of the third quarter. So looking pretty hot against the Bucks. Lillard has been way off. Yeah, the Knicks look good. I think they're going to be a pretty good playoff team if they keep it up. And I mean, they did not miss a three-pointer, it seemed. I mean, they were at one point they were close to 60% from the three-point line against the Hawks on Friday. So it was brutal. It just seemed like everything was just falling into place for the Knicks, but we just weren't getting the job done. I mean, we had our opportunity. We tied it up and we let them back up like 10 points. Then we brought it back down to like one, and we had the chance to take the lead. We just couldn't get anything to fall. So yeah, it was a little bit disappointing, but we got a good team. You know, I'm pretty happy with the way our defense is definitely looking for Atlanta. So it's just a matter of if we can get our offense to pick up the pieces a little bit. So Jalen Johnson's good. I mean, he's real good. I'm impressed with him already. I mean, he had 21 points against Orlando. He did decent on Friday, and he's doing heck of good right now against the Bucks. So we'll see. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, Trey needs some work. I'm not too sure what's going on with him right now. I think it's just some jitters. I'm not too sure. We definitely seem like I feel like we do a little bit better with him on the bench, or maybe with him as a guard. You know, if we have him in with Murray, they seem to do really well together. So we'll see. I'm sure they'll figure it out. You know, I have some good confidence with Quinn Snyder as a head coach. All right. Let's see. Yeah, I hope everyone's having a good evening. Yeah, good stuff so far this weekend. Like I said, we went to the Hawks game Friday. Then Saturday, I had the house to myself, which was nice. My wife went and stayed with her cousin last night, so had the house to myself with the animals, so that was good. And then today, you know, just did the normal stuff. Did some housework, hit some golf balls in the backyard, and just had a nice little relaxing weekend for sure. Yeah, our next game though, we don't go until November. Yeah, November we have tickets against the Grizzlies, I believe. Yeah, so that would be good. All right, enough chit chat. I'm sure y'all don't want to hear me blabber about the dang Hawks. It's fun. It's what I enjoy it, and that's why we bought a season ticket package. So, but all right. So we know last week was not a bullish week at all. Anything that could have gone wrong pretty much went wrong last week as far as the Bulls goes. But if you're a bear, we're killing it regardless. So we've pretty much had a extreme amount of selling pressure going on and just overall downward pressures. So it's not looking too hot for the market bulls here. We lost the weekly 50 here on the SPY. We also lost the daily 200, and we also lost 420. 420 was a pretty big level for the S&Ps, and we just haven't seemed to recovered since then. So, here we are. There just doesn't seem to be any kind of good structure here for the market bulls. Now, obviously, if you are a market bear, it's a little bit easier. You just short the rip and look for any kind of shorter term time frame squeeze, or any kind of bounce that we get. It seems to be working in favor of the bears. I mean, if you look at the hourly time frame, all the moving averages are converging downward. Anytime we get between the 21 EMA and the 50 SMA on the hourly chart, that does seem to be our area of where we could possibly get short. And we can see that the signals on the hourly charts are pretty darn bearish, and those signals are flushing over into the larger time frames. We can see that the daily time frame is giving us more sell signals. The squeeze is firing short. If you look at the weekly time frame, we can see that the weekly squeeze is just now getting started. We have the thrust pointing down. Also, we got 3 signals, a fresh one last week. So everything is definitely in favor of the bears, and it's just a very precarious spot. And the more that this market drops, the more difficult it is going to be to turn things around. So we definitely have that damaged structure, and the weekly is just getting worse from here. And if you look at the squeeze, what we're kind of looking for here, if my drawing tool will work here, is we're nowhere near a possible hook. And what I mean by a hook on the squeeze is that if you look here on the daily squeeze, you see how the squeeze got a little bit of a hook here and a little bit of a hook there. That's kind of what you want to see start to happen on the weekly. And as you can see, we're we're definitely far from that scenario here. And it's just going to take a lot for this market to gather itself and turn a new leaf here. And, I definitely challenge this to anyone out there and, give me a good reason from a technical standpoint as to why you should buy this market. And, if you can give me a reason, we'll take a look at it. But does anyone out there have a good technical reason to buy this market? And I'm going to honestly say you probably don't. And the market needs something meaningful to flip this market around. And the only move higher is really going to only come from a short cover rally. And if you are short this market, if you're swing short or wherever, say you got short at the 420 line, at the daily 200, wherever you got short at 440, what is it going to take for shorts to have some sort of moment where they go, okay, I'm going to cover my position here? You don't really have that either. So the Bears are in great position to keep shoving this thing down our throats, shoving it down the Bulls' throats. And, we're just kind of in this very precarious spot where any remote bounce that we can possibly get is probably going to be a short the rip opportunity. So I'm looking for 15-minute squeezes to shape up and short from there. I'm also looking, if we do get a bounce, are we going to bounce into the hourly 21, the hourly 50, pretty much in that zone of the 21 and the 50 moving averages, and go short from there. I've already picked up some QQQ puts. We know the IWM is being trashed, and we'll take a look at that in a second. But in general, the indexes look like crap. And honestly, we could end this homework right here. We could end the stream right now, and that's the Sunday night prep in a nutshell. The market's a short, call it a day. There's nothing else to look at. So, if you're looking at your tickers, I challenge you to look at your indexes first. Tell me what you see. Look at your sectors, and then look at the individual names. You can look at the peripherals, you can look at the dollar, you can look at the bonds, you can look at the yields. Everything's pretty much telling the same story, and that is this market is a short. So there's nothing really else to do besides short this market. So with that being said, we'll still take a look at, we'll start to look at some of the peripherals and, of course, some of the indexes just to kind of nail in the idea here. So let's start out with the SPY, of course. We've lost 420. We lost the weekly 50. We're almost at the weekly 3 ATR. We could see some kind of bounce there just from, we're at such an extreme level here. But I also want to point out that, even the thrust oscillator, we're not even near the bottom here. That's another key point there, that even though the price is still at a interesting spot, the indicators are at an interesting spot, moving averages are starting to point down, hourly is also in a growth spot. So everything's just saying, short the rip kind of idea. As a long-term investor, what level would get me real scared on SPY? I wouldn't say scared. We could easily have a capitulation event where we just have a 3 to 4% down day, 4 to 5% down day, and that would be epic. And especially if we get VIX above 23, which we'll get into. But we could have a capitulation event where we just knife down a good 4% and everybody freaks out. A lot of people get out of their longs, and then the market catches itself and it's like, okay, now we can get the weak hands out and turn back around. So from a long-term investing standpoint, shouldn't worry about that. You can always dollar cost average and just hang in there. But uh, could you go through some pain? Sure. Could you pull your hair out? Probably. But we can hedge against this by buying long-term puts. We can hedge against this by buying bonds. You can get uh, treasury treasuries and do what you need to do on that. Savings accounts, they're doing good too. So there's a lot of different ways that you can navigate a downturn on the markets. Do dividend names, do what you need to do. I mean, there's all sorts of different stuff that you can to mitigate some of that stuff. But of course, you want to talk to your financial advisor and all that kind of good stuff on that. Buying an insurance put would be good for me. Yeah, I bought some longer term QQQ puts. I went out and bought the March 2024. Yeah, the March 15th, 2024 335 puts. They cost a pretty penny, but that's just the cost I'm willing to pay to hedge against any kind of downturn that we may have, as well as if we do have a capitulation event or if we have a black swan event, I'm well protected in case something like that happens. So yeah, I did pay a pretty penny for those, but that is something I'm willing to accept. And then of course, if we don't happen to have that, of course, the long-term shares will make up the difference and all that kind of good stuff. So this is like a good way for me to hedge. Of course, I'll look for other opportunities as well. And then as far as day trading goes, of course, I'm going to play some downside to help mitigate all that. So yeah, day trading is definitely still your best friend. Swing trading short is also your best friend. If you're trying to swing trade long right now, maybe just be patient. We got some interesting data points coming out this week. The key thing here, though, we got the jobs data. Everyone's going to be looking for weak data from the jobless claims and the payrolls data. We got the JOLTS, we got ADP, we got the jobless claims and non-farm productivity. We have non-farm payrolls this week, so a lot of jobs data that we could do. You also have the FOMC this week. Now, the understanding here with the FOMC is, all right, our current rate is 525 to 550 basis points. The overall consensus is that the Fed is going to keep that at those levels for now. And we'll have to see when they might want to cool that down. Again, December, it looks like the probabilities are still there that they keep it at 525, 550. Same thing in January. It doesn't seem like it comes down until we get into maybe Q2 and Q3 of next year. That's when it gets a little bit wishy-washy. Of course, the further out you go, the more interesting the probabilities get. But shorter term time frame, next week, they're going to keep the rates where they are. Nothing's really broke just yet that we know of. Of course, there's probably something out there that could be already broken. We just don't know it yet, but we'll know soon enough for sure. But of course, there's a lot of geopolitical events going on right now. Israel, Hamas, Russia, Ukraine. Yeah, us and China. Who knows? Something could happen. There's always a powder keg somewhere. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting data this week. So you got to stay on your toes for sure and play things as they come about. So day trading, no problem. We can day trade both long and short. That's never going to change. But of course, if I'm looking at swing trades, I'm probably going to be looking for some swing shorts. No doubt about that. So it is what it is. I mean, that's just what the market is right now. So there's no way to sugarcoat it. All right, so we got the SPY here. It's kind of in la la land. I could zoom out of this chart and see where we might possibly have support. And yeah, you might have something here. There is a small gap fill like way down here at about 406. Let me grab that, and let's see if I can zoom back into that. There's a small gap fill to here about 407. That could be an interesting spot, but then again, I mean, where's something juicy? I mean, what, right here, 403 to 400 maybe. You could run fibs too, from the swing low to the swing high. Boop, boop. All right. Yeah, I mean, look, we're at the 618 here at 410. So that's pretty interesting in itself. Yeah, so the pressure is definitely on until we get like some kind of up arrow. For me, as far as the thrust goes on the hourly, I mean, it's just going to stay the same here. So that's the SPY. Let's go over to the Qs. It's going to be pretty much the same story here. Buy gold for your safe. Yeah, I mean, you could buy physical gold. Don't go out and buy gold futures. Go out and buy like physical gold or silver or whatever. That's one way to do it. GLD is actually an interesting chart. Gold futures. Fuzz is my spirit animal. Oh, that's good. Yeah, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Apple. Yeah, we got some earnings this week too. Of course, earnings is picking back where we left off. You got AMD on Tuesday. You got PayPal. Well, PayPal, who cares? You got Apple on Thursday. Let's see who else. Yeah, Apple on Thursday. That's going to be a big one. And they have that weird event this week too, I do believe. I think they're doing an event on Friday. Caterpillar, McDonald's, yeah. But earnings season, it just don't matter. No one cares. I mean, Microsoft. I mean, look at Microsoft. I mean, they had stellar earnings, right? Killed it on their cloud. Even beat out Google on their cloud this go around. And you had the nice gap up, and look what you did. You gave it all back. Elf. Yeah, but Elf's not going to move the market. All right. So what is going to move the market? The Fed, but the Fed's going to keep things on pace, with what they're doing. They're going to keep rates higher for longer. And we've heard Powell say the same thing. The market's going to the economy's going to have to go through some pain. Let's see. Here's a fun level for Microsoft. I mean, you got to get over this 345 mark if you want to climb higher. Microsoft, it's holding steady above the 21. You got a daily squeeze, but thrust is pointing down. I mean, if Microsoft breaks down below like 326, 325, it's a short with the overall market. Maybe do have some relative strength there. I mean, Google got clapped on their earnings. I mean, look at that. I mean, my God. One of the strongest names in the market this year getting destroyed like that is not a good sign. Meta losing structure also. Had a decent up day on Friday, came up to the hourly 21. This is a short below 293 to go back down, and it looks like you might have a date with these guys down at 280 and 270. Biggest target to the downside would, of course, be the daily 200. You can't really be a bull unless you get back above 310, maybe. Yeah, 308, 310 on that. So, yeah. Fro. Yeah, Frontline. Yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, but who's buying it up here? It's just breaking out, of course. But yeah, breakouts are going to be hard to play. Breakouts are definitely hard to play with the overall market being the way it is. When you have the SPY and all the key indices breaking lower, something that's breaking out into new highs is going to be more difficult. I know Frontline is like kind of a bozo example of this, but it will have a much harder time to keep up. So just keep that in mind too when you're looking at some of these breakout names, or if you're scanning for lifetime highs, like the professor would. Those names are going to be hard to play out. If we look at the IWM small caps, these guys, of course, have more. They're more susceptible for higher rates. Now they are at the bottom of the range at like 160. So if the IWM is going to bounce, this is where it needs to bounce. I mean, this is still a crazy downward trend. I mean, if you look at the hourly moving averages, you see how they're all aggressively pointing lower. I mean, that's the definition of in your face downward trend, short the rip kind of situation here. So the IWM, granted, you're at an interesting spot here. We'll see if we get a bounce, but you know, small caps are just going to be hurt by higher rates. I mean, TNX hit 5%. That translates into 8% mortgage rates. It's going to be hard for small cap companies and all that to borrow money and pay it back because it's just so expensive to borrow right now. So rates, as long as rates continue to hold up, yeah, it's going to be a hard time. The dollar, I mean, this looks like a big old continuation pattern, if you ask me. I mean, looks like a big old bull flag here. So we'll see if it breaks out and we get that continuation above 107. If it breaks out above 107, that's not good. You want to see a breakdown. We got a daily squeeze. Everything looks kind of nasty here on the dollar. So yeah, if you are a market bull, you definitely want to see the dollar break down at least below the 21 and definitely back below 105. Once it gets back below 105, then we just, you know, go crazy and start to hit the buy button a little bit more aggressively. Yeah, the Qs, yeah, just downward. We lost the 200. No, we're almost at the 200. And we talked about this a few weeks ago where if things did break down, then the NASDAQ has a lot more room to go. And, you know, look what's happening here. Granted, I need to clear these levels here because they just don't make any sense. Those are intraday levels. We lost the 618. We're down here near the 200. So if we get a breakdown below these lows at 342, next stop is just simply 339, 340 on the Qs. We can do the same thing here and draw some fibs from our swing low and see what we get. And bloop. Yep. 340, 336 is the 382, then 321 there. So I'm going to delete this because I just automatically know that that 200 is going to be there. So if we do get a move back down, I'm looking at 340, 339 zone to hold as dynamic support. And then, you know, if you're looking for your next price support, I mean, what you can come all the way down here. There's a gap to fill here down at 331. If you zoom in on your charts, you see this nice little gap up for whatever reason. Selling pressure continues. We already talked about the IWM, the dollar. Let's take a look at the VIX. The March 15th, the monthlies. Monthly expiration, March 15th, 2024. 335 puts. Yeah, so the VIX here, big spot for the VIX is 23. And why is it 23? I'll tell you if my... let's see if I can get this to work. I can close you. I got too much stuff. I'll open this while my computer's being a little bit of a butthead. Let's see. All right, so 23, you got the weekly 200. I know it's kind of hard to see with all these lines. The red line here, that's the weekly 200. You also got the swing high here. So you got the weekly 200. You got the swing high. You also have a daily squeeze occurring on the VIX. You got pretty much bullish signals all across the board on the hourly, the daily, the weekly. And if this happens to blow up, like if we break above 23, then yeah, that could pretty much create a capitulation event and down we go. What about oil? Let's take a look at crude oil. It's just not doing anything. Above 89.60, it's a long. Once you get below 82, it's a short. It's kind of in the middle of a zone. And energy is interesting. When the market goes to crap, like completely goes to crap, energy is usually the last one to go down. So we'll see. I know Warren Buffett just bought more of Oxy, and that's exciting. And he owns a quarter of the company now. But I mean, look, it's not doing anything. You got earnings coming up, sure. Oxy's buying up stuff. Warren Buffett's buying up stuff. Chevron's buying up Hess. That's a big merger. But I mean, if you really look at it, I mean, energy companies, they're just not doing it. I mean, look at Chevron here. Down on that news. Phillips, it's down. Yeah, if you lose this 107, 108 level, the daily 200, yeah, I kind of like that as a short trade, to be honest with you. 104, I might have to keep an eye on that one. What's another one? MRO, Marathon. MPO, I think that's the other one. Their other ticker, no, not MPO, MRO. I guess just MRO. Or Murphy, VLO. Valero, that one's getting tapped. So, yeah. I don't feel comfortable with oil. I don't feel comfortable with much of anything, to be honest with you, unless it's like long-term shares. If I'm trying to long anything, it's my long-term shares that I feel comfortable with. XLE, yeah. Look at here. Lose 84.26, you're coming down. I mean, you kind of go through your sectors too, though. I mean, A, B, C. Let's see. We can go to the communication sector. This has Google and Netflix, Meta, all in that zone. Someone just entered Netflix puts last week. Yeah, Netflix has been interesting. They had good earnings, and they kind of surprised everyone with their subscribers. If Netflix can get below 392, yeah, you got that nice gap fill. 376 to hold on dynamic support, of course. If you break above 418, 419, that would be my hard stop for that Netflix put. And I tried twice last week to play Netflix, and I just couldn't get it. So, and Netflix is usually like one of my best tickers to trade. I usually have a good success rate with Netflix. I just couldn't nail it last week. It just kind of slowly did its thing, and then it just went down. So it is what it is. But above 418, 419, that would be a hard stop for me if I'm short. But if you do get this flush below 392, you're looking pretty. As far as signals go, neutral trend. Yeah. So if you break below 392, it's good. Nvidia, yeah, we'll take a look at Nvidia. And we'll look at the semiconductor ETF in general. I mean, Nvidia is just hanging on by a thread here. You lost the 21, you lost the 50. You got a little bit of support here at 397. Had those butterflies last week. They paid out nicely. If you lose 397, down you go to 386. 386, you got 375, and then you got the daily 200 down here at 350. I wouldn't be bullish on Nvidia. I mean, of course, if you can day trade a bounce, of course, we can always do the day trade. But if you're looking for like swing longs, yeah, you got to get above 437 at least. You're thinking SPY taps 380, 360. That could be fun. 360 for the bottom range. Yeah, let's go look at the semiconductor ETF in general, SMH. Okay, so you're at the 200 already here on the SMH. You got a big gap fill down here. Ooh, that looks ugly. Overall trends bearish. You're starting to get that pinch, though, with the fast-moving average and the slow-moving average here. But like I said, if the hourly... So here's what I would look for. I wish my drawing tools would work, but for some reason they're not working right now. I got to probably do an update on them. But for the SMH, step one, right now, I guess the good thing here is that you have a slight higher low. So you got that low at 136.63, and you closed right here at about 137.65. If we can get an up arrow here on the thrust, and break out above the hourly 50 at 141, that sets the tone up a little bit better for semiconductors. And if the semiconductors can get going, the NASDAQ can get going, and then you have that trickle effect. So that could be a bright spot for sure. So I don't mind that. But of course, if you break down below this daily 200, 136.50, it gets real ugly really quick. And down goes NVIDIA, down goes AMD, down goes Qualcomm. Fortunately, with Qualcomm, that finally paid out. That took forever and a day. We had that trade work out. TSM had their earnings report, and we know TSM had actually pretty good earnings. Surprised a lot of people. Look at that gap up, but like I said, the market's crap, so down you go. And looks like you're going to retest this 84.50 mark on TSM, and TSM is one of the biggest holdings within the SMH. So if TSM's down, so is the rest of the semiconductors. And same thing with NVIDIA. If NVIDIA's getting hammered, most likely so are the other semiconductors. Intel Core, they had a pretty good earnings report, gapped up. We'll see what happens. Of course, Intel hasn't really done much of anything in forever, so I don't really pay too much attention to Intel, to be honest with you. All right, let's see. So energy, you got industrials, you got a lot of industrials reporting earnings, but I mean, that's just that's an eyesore, isn't it? Financials, getting walloped. JP Morgan, look at that candle here on JP Morgan. Yuck. Lost 140, down you go. Goldman just getting absolutely punched in the face here. KRE, these are your regional banks. Okay, that's interesting. So regional banks not getting fully destroyed, but they still got some work to do. If you can get back above 40, oh, look at that. That could be a fun trade. So here's what I'm looking at on KRE. See this 40 level? It's almost in the neckline of a possible head and shoulder, inverse head and shoulders. Like I said, I would draw that out if my pen would work, but it's not working. So you gotta, and let me see if I can do it like this. Can I do it like this? There you go. There's the head, left and right shoulder. If you can break above this 40 line, then that looks pretty good. Now I got to remove all these damn arrows. Arrow. I'll leave those there. Those are cute. NVIDIA definitely going back to 350, 315. It might. What about AMD earnings? Let's see. They got earnings on Tuesday. Let's see. Do I still have my earnings grid pulled up? I don't. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Now, I'm a big fan of AMD. I have an AMD PC. Other than the graphics card, of course. I got NVIDIA graphics. I'm a big fan of Lisa Su. I like what she does. She's a great CEO, great leader. Let me go to the earnings grid here. That's probably going to change the ticker. AMD. You're in SPY puts for November 3rd. Yeah, we'll go back over the key stuff here. All right, so AMD 5.6 gap, 4.4 gap up, gap down 2 quarters ago, and then priced in on this one. So this one's going to be interesting. Average gap up 5 points. What the market maker move for this? Let me see. Usually it tells me the market maker move up here, but it's not telling me. All right, market maker move is plus or minus 6.74 points. So about 7 points. We'll say 7 points. Down 6, up 2, up 3, up 3, 4, 7, 13. Those were different times, though. Yeah. What's our IV up to? 90%. Wow. So IV is super duper high for AMD this week. So pay attention to your cons. So TSM had pretty good earnings. Intel had pretty good earnings. So I would probably look to see if AMD can also keep the momentum. But because there's not much consistency here, I would probably steer away. You could try a sell the IV, sell an iron condor, something like that, and see what that works. You can see that you're in a downward channel here on AMD. Yeah, +6. You would have to get above 111 for it to be extremely bullish. And we'll see. Like I said, a lot of the earnings gap ups are getting sold afterwards. So as far as AMD goes, you've lost the 200. If you lose this 95, 94.50 level, down you go to retest the channel again, the bottom end of the channel at about 90. And then you kind of you could probably see if you bounce from there. But earnings, yeah, we'll see how well they are performing compared to its competitors. Right now we know Intel has done well, TSM has done well. So you might have a shot there for a long trade, but I would just be careful. I keep asking about the 50, about the 5 and 20-day average crossing the 200. Yeah, if that's your system. So you have a 5. So you have a very fast moving average there. So a 5-period moving average pretty much is going to follow price. Then you have your 20-day. 20 days like a medium term. And then you have a 200. Yeah, as long as you have a fast, medium, and longer term, you're good. So that's a good system to use. Every time it passes the 5-day goes under the 200, it goes down. Yeah. And then when all three met, it has gone up. I would see, back testing. Now, keep in mind when you're considering moving averages, you want to basically look at the slope of those moving averages. It's not necessarily golden cross and death cross and all that. What is the slope for those moving averages? What is that telling you? What about Palantir to the down? Palantir. Adobe and Broadcom for day trades. Yeah. Adobe need to lose 506 to 500. Lose 506, you see 500. Yeah, you're going down to 473. I mean, this is a juicy level down here for Adobe. I like it. You got a negative thrust signal here, first on the daily. Now, if we do get a bounce here, this would be a spot to bounce if it were to bounce, but it looks like it wants to fall. If the market wants to go to crap, Adobe's going to go to crap with it. You can see it's also the weekly 21 EMA. So yeah, if you lose 500, 6, and 500 zone altogether, yeah, 470. 470. Atlanta Hawks won 127, 110. Let's go. Attaboy Hawks. Oh. I can't do a hawk noise. Oh. Go Hawks. Yeah, I wish they would have played like that on Friday. That would have been nice. But oh well. I'll take a W over the Bucks. Okay, so yeah, Adobe. There you go. Broadcom. Same thing. Boo, boo, boo. You're in a nice little Darvis box here. Above 924.50. That's a long for sure. You're kind of in the middle of La La Land though for Broadcom. Need to lose 800, 790. For day trades though, 818. 818 to about 810. It's like you got some zones here. Broadcom can become very, very spready as far as the options go. So make sure you have a good one as far as the options contract. So 818, 810, 790, 750. That could be a fun, man. If the market goes to crap, that could be a wild short. Ba, 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 da, da. Does that help you as far as the day trade levels? Inside day on Friday, right? So if you come over here, I mean, you can even look at a 15-minute chart. You got a nice little level here on the 15-minute too. Break above 840, you can go long to 855. Maybe if you break down below 826. So this is a 15-minute chart here. You can see that 840 level looks pretty juicy. Break above 840, you're testing the daily 50 at 855. That looks actually really fun. So I'm going to mark that down for me. Shout out small time there. ABGO. Long over 840. Short below 818. I like that. I like that. That might be on my watch list tomorrow. Cacao. Cacao. Oh. Cacao. I can't read. Do I own any Melly in my long-term? Nope. I do not own any Melly. A Melly. I do not. Oh, Palantir. Sorry. Gotta check out Palantir. Palantir. Y'all get the theme here, though. I mean, everything looks kind of poopy. Palantir looks like a decent long over 1840. What do we got? Earnings on Tuesday? Earnings on Tuesday. I'm a short below 1365. So you can say there we go. There's a nice little range there. 1482. That looks fun. Lose 1482 here. Down you go to the retest 1365. Below 1365, you got the daily 200 at about 1250. Above 1840, you know what? We'll say 17. Above 17, room to 1840. 1840, you're going to 20. Bum, ba, ba, da, ba, 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 da, dun, dun, dun. Can I look at Tesla? You're in a swing put up around 30%. Nice. Setting my hard stop at 230. 230. Yeah, she looks gross too. Yeah, Tesla's going to be on my watch list tomorrow for sure. 202.50. You lose 202.50, you're going down. You still have a minor gap fill right here at 193, and that's what that level is. So lose 202.50, 200 will be psychological, and then you get 193. So I like Tesla for downside. You got negative thrust signals everywhere. This looks fun. If you get a break above 215, that could send you back to 220. So 215 to 220 to the upside. Your hard stop's at 230. So your options expire in 2 weeks. I'll probably have you could probably keep it tighter if you want to, just to preserve capital, unless that's like your main spot here, the gap up. Excuse me, the gap down. Depends what oh, it expires in mid-December. Oh, you got time then. Yeah, 230 seems pretty logical there. That's the 21 EMA and that gap down on earnings. Yeah, that makes sense. For the long-term hold, yeah. It's not bad. I like that play. Could I look at Freeport McMoran and COPEX? So you're looking at some copper. Let's take a look at copper futures. Copper futures, interesting. Okay. 350. We're above the 21 now, so that's good. Look at this hourly. That's interesting. All right, are metals trying to tell us something? I just drew another arrow because that's obnoxious. 364, huh? We're in a box, aren't we? All right, so what would that put us at? Let's measure this out. Top of the box. Bottom to the top, tippity top, 370 to 380. Okay, that's my zones here. Okay, so if copper wants to turn itself about, that's what it's all about, then your measured move, so basically what I'm doing is I'm taking the Starvis box, and we're, mathematically speaking, we're subtracting 364 from the bottom of this. That gives you these numbers up here. So if we took 364, added the difference from the low, that gives us these numbers, right? So 380 would be your ultimate target if copper does decide to break out. So it's interesting that metals are saying, let's play peekaboo. Let's take a look at gold futures real quick too. Now, I will tell you, it's much more fun to own physical gold than to trade actual gold. Trading gold is, I'd rather smash my head up against the wall like 20 times and do some other things than trade gold. But you have this very obvious, possible, very, very large, I would have to zoom way out here. Let me go to a monthly. If you take a monthly chart of gold, there's this really large cup and handle, and it's really obvious. People would say the most obviously patterns don't tend to work out as well. Sometimes I agree, sometimes I don't. If it plans out, you know, gold could be a really fun trade. Buy longer term contracts on GLD. And I'll tell you to do the same thing on copper and silver contracts because they move painfully slow and you get this whipsaw action a lot. Gold is notorious for having these fun little upward moves and thrashing it back down really quick. Hence this move here, sideways, down you go. You had high compression squeeze, up, down, same thing here. So is it going to do it again? Maybe, I don't know. Gold is definitely interesting. So if I'm going to trade gold or GLD and speculate that, you know, gold wants to have this crazy fun breakout above 190, I'm probably looking at, I'd probably prefer to do at least 6 months out on the cons and probably something close to in the money. Sometimes they can be affordable. So like GLD, let's say if we went to the March cons, yeah, you got some good, yeah, I mean, you got some really good OI in those 185s. Granted, they're going to cost you $9, but that's probably how I would play it. If I wanted to do shorter dated, I would definitely get in the money. 60 delta, at least if I can. If I wanted something shorter dated, like December, you can get December, well, you can probably do the 185s. You can get away with that because that is right at 60 delta for the December cons. 185, they're going for about $5. Not too bad. So yeah, back to copper. Yeah, that's interesting that copper's trying to base out. So then we look to Freeport. That does not look as good as copper futures. Does it? So you have copper futures, like when we compare names here to its underlying, you know, copper futures are trying to curl up. Is there anything that looks just as good as this? And you look at Freeport and you say, why is Freeport not moving just yet? All right, you have this interesting level here. I'll give it that. You had this level breakdown, actually. 35, you lost 35. Trying to build a base here at 33. If you can get above the 21 EMA and 35, sure, that could be an interesting trade. But if you break below 33, that could just be a continuation of the bear flag pattern. And that would sit you down See, 4 more points. That would put you down to 29. So you got to be a little bit careful on Freeport McMoran. So is there anything better? Southern Copper. Southern Copper is the one I always look at too. This one's a little here. Let me clear out these drawings. Downward trend here on SECO. I like it better above 74. All right. Yeah, what's another one? Rio, I guess. Rio's not bad, but it's kind of crummy. BHP. That one's interesting. Tech. Yeah, Tech's not doing anything. Yeah, that's interesting that copper futures are doing okay, but none of the big boys are having it just yet. It doesn't mean that they won't turn around. It's just they're lagging. So why are they lagging? Probably because of the overall market. I mean, it does make things harder to break out. So yeah, you need to get above 75, 76 for Southern Copper. Freeport, McMoran, yeah, same deal. 33, you're trying to base here. If you get above 35, that could set something up. Might be on the lookout for that, but Freeport, these guys trade like snails. So if you're going to trade FCX, you either do it by shares or you get some decent delta cons. I wouldn't go out of the money. I'd pick something in the money with these guys. They're cheap, stupid cheap. Like you can get a 70 delta contract for November for like $2. I mean, I'm down for that. You can go out to December and get a 70 delta for $4. Just check the open interest and all that. Of course, if you're going out of the money on these, get time. Get time as much as you can. Thrust me in your bell flag. By myself. What did that say? Oh, okay. You're welcome, Savvy. You want to add stocks and leaps. Okay. And the good thing about like leaps is you can do calendar spreads against them. So you can buy the leap and sell shorter dated cons against it. Or if you buy shares, I mean, if you buy a Freeport McMoran, maybe you can run the wheel strategy and see the guys in the wheel chat. What are leaps? Long expiration contracts. At least a year. At least a year. What's the wheel? The wheel's actually pretty fun. So you buy shares, sell calls against it. If you get called away, sell puts, yada yada. I know it's a little bit more complicated than that, but you basically just run this cycle of wanting to getting called away is not a big deal. That's it in a nutshell. Someone who runs the wheel chat's probably screaming at me, but it's actually really fun to do. See the guys in the wheel chat. That's a whole different conversation, though. We could spend a whole night talking about the wheel strategy. These guys better start the academy. Yeah. Yeah, go to the academy. You're halfway there. Good. Yeah, keep it up. DM me if you need a trading plan or need help. I'm not going to build a trading plan for you. Blitzed it the first time. Yeah, take your time with it. And then draw up your trading plan and get back to me. I got a few that I need to get back on. I told I think I told 2 guys that I was going to get to them this weekend, but I didn't. So I apologize. I'll get to them this week though. All right. Let's go back and look here. So the main thing here for me is I'm going to be mainly looking at the indexes, and y'all know me when it comes to day trading. I'm going to be looking at the big boys. If y'all have any more ticker questions, throw them in there. But just to recap here, SPY, the market's not in a good place. I mean, this clean cut and simple. Yeah, there's been a what's that word I'm looking for? Propudence of selling. I think that's how you say it. It's a nice word, but just been a lot of selling pressure going on. The market's in a precarious spot. If we lose, this can continue to keep falling. There is a small little gap to fill towards 406 if she wants it. If we were to see any kind of short covering, which I don't see a reason like why a short would want to hop out of their short position at this point in time. There's just no real concrete evidence to get, like, if I was a hedge fund guy and managing funds and all that kind of good stuff, I mean, I'm shorting this thing just in general. And I mean, most of my stuff, I got covered puts and stuff like that, protecting my longer term. I got puts here and there on the overall market. So, I'm doing what I can to mitigate any kind of losses. But at the same time, I'm looking to short any kind of rip to the upside, whether that's to the 21 EMA on the hourly or the 50 hourly. Any kind of 15-minute squeeze that we might get ourselves into, I'm going to look to play it short unless proven otherwise. So say if we get 15-minute squeezes, play it to the short side. It works. Play the next 15-minute squeeze and it goes against me. That's when I'm going to be like, okay, maybe they're trying to turn things around, but we need to see the evidence, of course, to do so. I mean, this market's just completely right now. And it's just hard for the bulls to kind of get ahead. And, what's the main catalyst that's going to turn things around? We know that there's a lot of shorts out there. We've talked about it before. We know that the put to call ratio, there's a lot of people in puts right now. And that's great. But how do we knock those guys out? From a technical standpoint, I mean, sure, there's maybe some minor levels down here to work with, but we'll see. We'll see. What's going to spook a short out? You got to do a lot more work than that. Maybe above 424. Maybe above 424. So yeah, SPY looks like poop. IWM looks like poop. Qs look like poop. Qs are almost there. Qs are almost at the daily 200. Yeah, if Powell, well, you got to ask this though. If Powell suddenly cuts rates, say if Powell suddenly cuts rates, says, okay, something's broke, we need to cut rates and start switching gears to quantitative easing, would that spook the markets even further? Because then we need to be like, something broke, and what broke, and how bad is it, and is there contagion? So if there's something that, if Powell comes out on Wednesday and goes, okay, we're cutting rates, like something bad must have happened and it's about to be felt. So that kind of spooks me. We know he's not going to do that, but something like that would spook me. They would need to probably tell the market in advance that, okay, we're getting ready to cut rates. Now, on the bright side, Bitcoin was actually a really good bright spot in the market last week. We had MSTR and we had coin. All right. I think a lot of us played crypto names last week, and those were home runs. Now, Bitcoin, if you look at the, crypto and quantitative easing, crypto is going to be a benefactor of quantitative easing for sure. And you can compare that to the last time, all the QE was occurring, crypto took off, and crypto is going to be a benefactor of that. And when they do QE, they're going to be pumping the markets, and that money has to go somewhere. It's not just a vacuum. And we know that's going to also flood into crypto. Now, crypto is starting to take off, which could be a positive note here for the overall market in general. So crypto could be a nice little front runner. Of course, it might take some time for the rest of the market to kind of base out and go. But of course, Bitcoin might be an interesting spot here still. So keep an eye on those crypto names. For the win. Yeah, they might. Doge. I don't know. Haven't looked at those charts in a while. If I'm playing anything, it's going to be Bitcoin or Ethereum. I'm not playing any corn coin or whatever it's called. Smurf cat? What the heck? What did I say? Corn coin? Yeah, y'all know what I mean. Moon genitalia. All right. All right, so let's see. Futures. Let's take a look at futures, of course. Nice little move to the upside. We're just kind of stagnant here between 41.50 and about 41.45. About a 15-point little box here on futures right now. S&P futures up 0.4. NASDAQ futures, decent bounce, 0.55. We'll see if this holds. No economic data tomorrow, which is nice. We start the week kind of quiet. You do have earnings from Mickey D's. Who else do we have? Mickey D's. Boop, boop, boop. SoFi, for all you SoFi lovers. Western Digital. Air Canada. Oh, Canada. And then aftermarket, you got Pinterest. Ooh. Wolfspeed. Yeah. So a little quiet tomorrow, which is nice. Apple earnings on Thursday. That'll be the big one. Pepsi? You want to look at Pepsi? That looks gross. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Yeah, so Pepsi looks good above 160. Okay, it doesn't look, it looks better above 163. Continuation short, yeah, above Friday's low. Send it back to the lows, sir. You got earnings out of the way, which is good. Possible little wedge, yeah. There you go. Yeah, get above 163.50. Good for longs. Breakdown 157. Yeah, that could be a nice little short. XLY, consumer staples. I mean, that just looks like a mess. It's bad when the defensive sectors are looking bad. Healthcare might be the interesting play. I know it's like shot to crap, but healthcare and insurance names. UNH. I was looking at UNH, trying to base out here. I want to see it above 532 though. Cigna. This one's holding up okay. Check out your insurance. Aflac. AFL, sorry. Aflac. Humana. Still holding above the 21. You got earnings coming up though. On principle, you hate UNH and Cigna. I hear you. I hate all insurance companies. Insurance companies are the devil. What do I think about forward swings? Yikes. Why do you want to be a buyer of Ford? Tell me why. Ain't nothing but a short setup. Tell me why. Looks like booty hole. Tell me why. Yeah, I don't see a reason to be long Ford. You had earnings, sold off $9. Do you want to long it because you think it's cheap? You broke down this long support here. I mean, this is support dating back to last year. Yeah, even all the way back to 2021. Yikes. Ford, General Motors. Look at General Motors. Ay, ay, ay. You got the UAW strike. I think Ford finally made an agreement, but they're paying out the wazoo. That's going to hurt their bottom line. And they took away their guidance. So, long Amazon. If the market turns around, yeah. But you're just kind of stuck in la la land here. You see the problem here? The overall market is like, looks like crap. So it's hard to be long anything. Amazon. You got a gap here, 125. Lose 125, get the gap fill. We could probably day trade it. If we break 130, send it back to 132. If I'm looking for something more smashing, I need it above. I need a daily close above 135. Above 135, that gets you back above the daily 50. That gets you above the swing high there. So yeah, I like that. You got a daily squeeze, but thrust is down. Could be a little interesting, but I think with the market looking like it is, it's not looking good. I guess on one bright note is the bonds. Sorry, I know I keep dragging this out, guys. The bonds here are trying to stabilize, but it still needs to get back above the 21. You do have a positive divergence here on the bonds, but by itself, it's just a divergence. So you got a higher low here on price, or excuse me. There we go. You had a lower low here, and then you had a higher low on the oscillator down here. A little bit hard to see. You have to squint to kind of see it, but let's see. Do I still have my drawing tool? Yeah. There you go. Lower low, higher low. That could be a nice little move there. If bonds can start going, that will definitely help the NASDAQ, semiconductors, all that, and then you have that trickle effect kind of thing, and then Amazon becomes a nice player. All right. We'll cut it here, guys. We're over an hour. I'll post my watch list for tomorrow in my channel. I appreciate y'all. Thanks for the good questions. Yeah, I know I didn't say a lot of pretty things. But just know I'm just one guy. For all I know, the market goes boom tomorrow. But we'll see. All the evidence that I see, though, isn't fun, especially if you're a bull. But you know, we can keep the bear hat on and play it to the downside. Yeah. Day trades, a lot of fun. Volatility's in the picture. We'll see what happens, and we'll see if there's any shenanigans we can get into. I appreciate y'all. Thanks for being here tonight. I know it's late if you're on the East Coast, and I know there's plenty of things that you could be doing right now, but you're hanging out with me and us. So thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. I'll see you guys in the morning, and have a good evening. Take care. Sleep good. Ciao.